Welcome to DnDTime Brews. This is a wonderful little show here. We do, sometimes on Wednesdays. And today is a very special Wednesday because we have a very special guest with us today. That's right, guys. Pete's on the show. Also, Matty's here. Hey, Matty.
Oh, hello.
Now,
why I didn't see you there?
Yeah,
now,
funny meeting you here.
For those who might not know you, Pete and Matty, can you tell us who you are? We'll start with you, Pete.
Hey guys, it's me, Pete. I have a very relaxed energy this evening that I'm going to be bringing to the table because I'm drinking tea, and that's really just going to kind of carry me through the night, I think. And that's kind of my whole situation. It's a different kind of brew tonight on DnDTime Brews.
And Matty?
Well, not so much tea, but I am having some chips and salsa, a nice medium burn. Ooh, you feel it tingle on the lips and tongue without just, making you breathe fire. So I'm bringing an energy as well. I think we're going to have a good night.
Oh my. Matty, you know what? Every time I see you with your chips and salsa, I think, damn, I want some chips and salsa. This is a true story, guys. I'm going to pull back the curtains. You're going to learn something about me. I was a very late adopter of the salsa. I didn't start eating salsa in just anything until like 2 or 3 years ago. Can you
Why
believe
is that,
it?
Jeremy?
Because I was like, it's chunky. Ew.
Chunky,
that was the
man.
reason.
It's one of the most pleasant things about salsa. All the onions and the peppers and the tomatoes.
Well, so is how it is.
Have you started getting down on any kind of fresh pico de gallos yet, Jeremy?
No, pico de gallo still looks gross, I think.
That's the way to go. Someday you'll graduate. It's like, you're eating baby's first salsa now, but you'll graduate to that fresh
I thought you were
sliced.
going to end that at eating babies, and I was going to be like, oh, no.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. We don't eat babies here on DnDTime.
Now, Matty, can you give the audience, our lovely Twitch people, viewers, a little bit of information about who you are and what you do?
Of course. So I own a game store in Ohio, and I've taken those years of experience, and I have for the past year and a half-ish now, I've been broadcasting on Twitch, primarily running D&D workshops to teach people how to play, kind of unlocking their creativity as we create maps and NPCs, and we do things that maybe a lot of people might consider to be the drudgery or difficulty with either improv or campaign planning, and we turn it into worksheets. I mean, it's it's nice and easy. And then on Tuesdays as well, for the past year-ish now, a little bit over actually, I've been role-playing with several members of our community, so that not only can I have a little bit of fun DMing on Twitch, but it's a good way for me to practice what I preach, and y'all can see that I know what I'm talking about here. As I present a game, I adapt to what's happening, and even perhaps use some workshop content, kind of snuck in through the story here and there.
Awesome.
And to point out a note, you were saying, bring people through the drudgeries of campaign planning and stuff like that. I think that, in some of, from what I've observed, I think a lot of people have been convinced that it is not a drudgery, and also one of the joys of DMing is you get to plan. And I think that's a thing that comes across on your channel is the fun of all of the preparation work.
That is hopefully the end result as we go through this mysterious black box process of, a lot of what we could do, you could just go to a website and click random character and you'll get the same data. You're not going to get the same character though, as we take our time, nice, it's kind of like what, it's autumn. You go for that nice walk outside, the weather's nice, maybe it's a little cool, except when you're in the sun, and you're drinking your hot tea or whatever. It's a cozy feeling, and yeah, it takes longer. You could have just driven wherever, or you could have done something else with that time, but instead you went through the process. You took a look around, maybe you learned something new or around you, or nature or whatever, and then you come back home and everything is all kinds of fun. You get tea and salsa and all this other stuff.
And I mean, that's why we do this. We do this for the tea and salsa.
Clearly.
Well, I do it for the minis, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and because Matty, I think that's the one thing you neglected to mention here is you've got a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MattyMorgs. I don't think you actually ever threw out the link there. So just, buddy, if you love what you see tonight on DnDTime Brews here, go ahead and throw us a follow, but also check out MattyMorgs' channel because he's going to be doing stuff right after the show with the content we're going to be working on today. So Heckin' yeah, indeed. So I just put up a link there in the chat for y'all. Also, a quick hello to our chat. I see we got Adrian P, we got Blood News, we got Swordco here, the Forgotten One. Hello, Paisy160. Oh, fun. Turns out I chose a good day to pop in here and see what you guys were about. Indeed. And I see you got the old Matty oh my there. Oh my. But yeah, I also love the minis.
And I think that's going to
kind of of figures behind me, Mike.
Jeremy, you have such an impressive mini collection. Someday I'll begin. I know once I start, I won't stop. So my mini collection is very tame at the moment. But one of these days,
every time he broadcasts, it's like a subtle, like a soft flex on everyone. Like, I'm just gonna stretch and reveal cabinets full of one.
Oh yeah, it's just like, oh, look at these beholders. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there.
I have my mega over here. Is a very big dragon with two heads behind me.
But like, look at this beholder. So good. He's just so anyway.
And if I don't like this one, I will choose another one and even another one after that.
Yeah, I got 3 or 4 other options.
Sornos was asking anyone in nearly pain with how underpowered the Dragonborn are. Yeah, I feel that. They're below the curve.
They're below the curve for sure.
They're cool for sure, though. That's the great thing of the Dragonborn is how righteous it is to be a Dragonborn.
It's true.
But I think it's time we start diving in, Jeremy. I think you're on the same page to briefly summarize kind of what our plan is for the night. Matty has been so generous as to offer myself and Jeremy a couple boxes each of brand new minis here. We have the Icons of the Realm, Baldur's Gate, Defense. Oh, I already opened my
Defense into a furnace, guys. We're going to defend the furnace here.
Descent into Avernus. It is the new module that's going to be coming out from Wizards of the Coast soon. It's probably going to be
technically already is.
Is it out? Is it
the module? I think it is in game stores, right, Matty?
Uh-huh.
Ooh, I did not realize. I thought there was still like time. That's very exciting. But these are Descent into Avernus minis, and we're going to be opening them up on the stream, and then we're going to be, we'll be talking about the minis, and we'll be talking also about how they would inspire us and what kind of, story we would make after looking at these minis that we got out of this random package. So we don't know what's inside these, and myself, Jeremy, and Matty are going to be putting together some kind of some characters and some stories, perhaps in some cases set within the context of the lands of DnDTime. Other times, maybe we'll just, it might be something inspired that's more setting agnostic, and we'll see what we come up with. But that's the overall plan.
Absolutely, I'm very excited about this. And Matt, I believe if people are, watching us open all these miniatures and getting all excited, is there a way that that other people can get these?
Why, yes. It just so happens that I know a person who owns a game store, and he hooks me up with boxes of minis. And
Really?
Not just to sell, which of course I do. No, I mean, he does. Anyway. So yeah, we do sell boxes of minis, and very popular lately, gacha capsules. As the gacha capsules have minis in them, but they also have things like dice and dice bags, paint sets, all kinds of stuff, including coupons, effectively a coupon, that on your behalf, I will pay an artist in the community the value of the prize goblin that you pull. And then you work it out with the artist, whatever you want. I just pay the person their money. But you can get some cool character art or a background or whatever made, and everyone wins.
That's very cool.
It absolutely is. And I'll say, I'm sorry, Matty. I'm trying to get your cool MattyMorgs box up here on the screen now because I was rushing around so much. So I'm gonna just put it up on there, and bada boom, we got the Matty box. We have to have the Matty box if we're cracking minis.
That's true.
Hey.
That's true. If you're a sub of MattyMorgs, please spam those mini box
please
emojis.
spam those boxes. Let's feel that love.
And also, before we officially get into it, one last word on the subject. We have a segment at the end of this show that we like to do every week, which is a segment called Ask Pete and Jeremy, where people can ask us any number of ridiculous or D&D related or non-D&D related questions. And in order to access that, follow the link to our Discord below. There's a channel called Ask Pete and Jeremy, and we'll go through those questions at the end of the stream. And I think, as you may have guessed today, I think you can also include questions for Matty. You game to answer a few questions, Matty?
Always.
Excellent. In that case, shall we begin the process? And really, I just want to start opening these minis up.
Yeah, so I think what our plan is, right? We're gonna crack them open. We're gonna go through them one at a time, and we'll put them on the screen for you guys to see as well. And we're gonna talk about, like, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking, right? And you guys let me know what you think, Matty and Pete. I was thinking we could go through each of the minis and talk about, like, you know, what they are and how that figure could inspire us to use it in adventure. And maybe at the end of the adventure, put something together based on all those figures. Or at least some of, like, our nicest ones, the ones we're most excited about.
Yeah. You get to be the big idea folks. Like, oh, it would be cool, you know, this, and then zoom and blah 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 blah, and then you pass down the work to me, and then we're gonna take it to the workshop and go from there.
Awesome. So yeah, Pete, you want to start it off? You want to start off?
I would love nothing
cracking open those figures, because I'll tell you, I really want to, but I can wait.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Here's the box. I'm going to open it up.
Oh my god!
Jeremy, I took off the tape.
You got a box cutter, Pete.
I already took everything out, so it'd be easy for this exact moment. Jeremy, my god,
opened the figure.
Jeremy, my god.
All right, Pete.
Mini. I'm starting off with a big money. You guys, Matty, you also will not believe the mini that I pulled.
By the way, Pete's known for his unfucking fathomable luck. Pete, what's the?
It's not a luck thing. It's just a coincidence that I pulled the Glabrazu.
Oh, it's beautiful. Little Glabby.
I pulled the Glabrazu. The Glabrazu, for anyone familiar, is a demon of the abyss. It is a wonderful, and I'm gonna have to get used to. Let me get Skype open so I can tell.
Well, I have him up. I have the picture of him up big, so that we can have him next to Europe. Well, you wish to hold it up, see him.
Well, that's the Glabrazu. The reason why I think that's so funny, Chad, is because when we were kind of planning this day, the one that we were using as an example the entire time was the Glabrazu, coincidentally.
That's very true.
Here I have number 38.
Wait, I thought we were gonna just go through them and like talk about them as we go.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do all of them and then see where we got after we had them all out.
I think we can talk about it as we go, right? I like that.
Matty, how do you feel? Do you want to go one at a time, or do you want to go collectively?
We're contentious here, Matty. You got to be the deal breaker.
Yeah, you need to give us some guidance here in this moment of crisis.
All right. I think what would work, because we want to create a pool of minis from which you can start, you know, exploring ideas, putting them together, and kind of be like Dark Helmet from Spaceballs here, where you start playing with your figurines, and then Colonel Sanders walks in and catches you, and it's an awkward moment. So why don't you pop open? Pete, you finish popping your box and revealing them, and then let's give a quick blurb about maybe some in D&D sort of standard lore. It's a fiend, has 4 arms, it's known for this or that, kind of a little Pokedex entry, right?
Yeah.
So we'll go through that, and then Tresta Flump, aka Jeremy, if that is your real name, you can pop open your box as well, and then as we're going through, we're exploring some some quick lore as well if there's any sort of redundancies, because there's common pieces. You know,
Of course.
it might be possible that you two share a piece or two.
Then we'll get to build an army. Two pieces an army makes, I would say.
All right, Pete. So what do you got next then?
In that case, the next one I have here is presumably an NPC that's going to be appearing in. We have Olanthus. Olanthus. He's very cool looking. He has a big skull on his chest here. I'll get up nice.
Oh, that's a rare figure.
I was gonna say I don't know which one that is.
Scroll down.
Oh yeah, he's got a big. He wears skull armor.
There's a character like him that is in Ready Player One. If you saw the movie.
I did not, but this guy's righteous looking. He's got a big skull on his arm. He's wearing this big old sword. All right. My next one that I have here is, there's 4 in each pack. I have the Legion Barbed Devil. We'll get that
Legion Barbed Devil.
Get the camera to focus again.
Now that one has 2 different. Oh, okay. Oh, so you have the double axe version.
Ah, yes.
Oh.
You got a
I looked
hatchet.
at the wrong one.
Oh yeah, that's the axe and spell.
Very cool.
He's a choppy boy.
He's got 2 axes to attack 2 angels at once. And then last but not least, we have the Legion Arrhenius. The Legion Arrhenius.
Oh man, Pete.
Righteous red wings. A very Arrheniuses are rad as hell. Also, I like this style of the Arrhenius because I feel like the Arrheniuses tend to have a tendency to be a little bit over-sexualized, and this is a very cool, just like fully armored, badass like red wings Arrhenius. This is an Arrhenius mini that I would want to use, and not like the classical Arrhenius design. I really like this.
Yeah,
so those are my 4.
The succubus is more of the social. And those Arrhenius are more of the we're here to enforce things and get things done.
Oh yeah.
So it's a beautiful flying piece. In fact, I'll tell you, and for everyone out there, if you're new and you haven't played with Pete and Jeremy's D&D time, or I was invited into a game on one of their Sundays a while back ago, and we had to fight a couple devils, and there were some Arrhenius that were across a room that were shooting us with bows and arrows. And you remember this stuff because these boys put on a really good show.
Thank you, Matty.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So that's my first. That's my first box. So we want to go through and talk a little bit about the minis that I have here.
Yeah, you got an interesting combo.
Yeah, a lot of devilly themes.
You get 2 devils, a demon, and an Olanthius.
Yeah, we don't know who Olanthius is, but this is just a very terrifying dude in skull armor, as far as I think, for our purposes today, since we don't know anything about who he is as a character.
So, I'm going to be real. Like, already, right off the bat, obviously, these are high-level monsters. Like you were saying, they're fiends. Traditionally, you find them in, like, the Hells or the Abyss or with cults. But, man, I'll tell you, Roger Twy in the chat said something that, as soon as I read, inspired me. Because he was talking about the Glabrezu. And he said, best drummer in the multiverse. And I'm just thinking, oh my God.
Yeah.
Is this a band?
Oh.
We got the drummer. We have the dual axes. And then we've got, I don't know what this guy is.
With dual axes, does he play 2 guitars?
I think he plays 2 guitars. The Barb Devil. Look at him. Wait, let's catch him again. Does this guy look like he plays 1 guitar?
Oh, I was talking about the dual axe wielding Barb Devil.
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry. I'm on him now.
Yes.
Does he look like he plays 1 guitar? I don't think so.
I don't think he does. I know that our Arrhenius shreds a mean vocals. Like that spear is absolutely a microphone.
Yeah, 100%. And so that leaves us with just Olanthius.
And Olanthius, he's hold steady on the bass, right? I mean,
I was thinking, is he like the manager?
Oh, I suppose that could be the case. Our Arrhenius is our bassist and vocalist. We have 2 guitars, Barbed Devil. Actually, just as a musician, having 4 hands would be a necessary element for playing 2 guitars.
Well, Pete, but if we go back to look at him, right? He
He's got
has
two
a
axes,
sick
yeah.
tail.
Oh, okay. So that's how he fiddles the guitars like a violin, but with his tail.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, as Sword said, maybe a keytar, one of those like double guitars where it's like a guitar and a bass or something, or definitely the tail. If you got a tail, you're gonna learn how to use it in some way.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% in. If we're talking about like a D&D time adventure, that just feels so D&D time to me.
Yeah, two things I would like to point out. One, some of you may be thinking who aren't familiar with us right now, if you're new to the channel, what are they doing? Why are they taking these devils and making them a band? D&D time is a ridiculous place where there's a lot of very strange things. There's a kingdom where ice cream falls as snow. There is an entire elaborate system of kingdoms where people live in the dump and wage wars over piles of trash. So it's a very silly place in our world if we're building into the context of that. So a devil band is completely reasonable.
Even outside of that, there's a lot of other reasons why that makes a lot of sense in basically any D&D campaign. Traditionally, in the real world, right? There's back during the Satanic Panic, right? Oh, it's like, oh, rock music is the music of the devil. Well, hey, look, we're making the music of the devil. Haha. And then I see Paisley in chat was
that's
saying,
what I want to point out also.
Yeah, what if it's a Mad Max Fury Road kind of situation where these dudes are pumping up a demon army? If they can't stop the music, the people of the good army can't win. Or if they can stop the music, then the good people can win.
I think that's a great idea.
That fits really well. I'm not going to spoil too much, but in an adventure that recently has come out, I feel like that would actually be a really cool premise to put in as a dungeon master, as like a side note, where the players could like maybe go off a little side adventure throughout the core adventure and find that, and it would make perfect sense as part of that adventure. You know what I mean, Matty?
I'm with you.
I'm trying not to spoil too much, but I'm having a hard time. I love it though. All right, so we have the makings of a band here. We have Olanthius.
Box 1 is a band, and I feel like that's an encounter. Like that's a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
encounter.
we would try and string more of it. We'll see if we can maybe string more together.
Yeah,
but that alone is great.
Let's start putting. Let's start opening some more boxes, and then we'll start to see where we go.
Yeah, let's figure out the problems that the band might run into, I think. All right, let's crack this baby open.
Or like Paisley 160 was saying, if we're doing it for an army, maybe we're getting other segments of that army. Like this is a whole legion that we're putting together.
Indeed. So actually, let's just think about our core guys. We got the lead singer, we have the band manager, we have the guitarist, and we have the what was the last one?
We have the manager, the guitarist, the bassist / singer, and our drummer.
Yes. The drum. Of course, we've got Little Glabby.
Little Glabby, yeah.
Little Glabby is a character in D&D time.
All right, so we're gonna start with. Do we want to start with like the most intense first, or the least intense?
Go with the big boy.
Go with the big boy. All right. Well, Matty, knowing my luck with minis, you're not gonna be surprised at this first one. We have. I gotta take it out of its packaging because it is a dude riding a nightmare, and we're gonna get this guy in a hot second.
You got that?
Apparently, I did.
Okay, we cracked open 6 bricks of minis and hadn't seen one, so you got one off the rip when I sent those out. Now, so yeah, all right. When you're opening that up, he's actually going to be in a couple pieces.
I can see.
So he's not broken. This is an impressive figure. So you got a very rare piece.
Ooh, Jeremy!
The detail on this is insane for these figures. Okay, when you look behind me, I have a lot of these figures, guys. I have like another bucket of these guys. And the detail on this is absolutely outrageous. I'm trying to take everything out so y'all can see it here. I'm shocked. Wow. Matty, they just like really upped the overall production.
Yeah, they're especially with this set. It's been really popular. Also, Paisley, that's an amazing idea, and it puts pressure. Like, how do you put pressure on a devil band? At Paisley, that's a great idea. And for and Ember, yeah, he is super lucky. So when I got this together, I just grabbed the first, like I got all my bricks into the store, and all I did was I grabbed one and I took out my I took out my pocket knife, and I carved off two at a time, like two sets at two. And you two can attest that they're even still shrunk wrapped, because I just sort of I put them into the box as they came out in the bricks. So
yeah, I have the shrink wrap right next to me actually, and here's the full dude.
That's really fucking cool.
So one of the things that actually is really neat about it, right? So he rides the Nightmare, but you can also take him off the Nightmare. He pops out, and then it has an extra piece to get slotted in, so that your Nightmare still looks like a horse even without the dude. But
that's
beyond
really
that,
cool too.
The opening, like this top part, I could 3D print apart and mount literally any figure on this Nightmare.
oh,
That's
wow.
really cool.
That is so sweet. Yeah, this is an incredible piece. Let's talk about. Actually, we got to move on.
Well, yeah, open the rest of your.
We can talk about everybody. We can talk about how badass this guy is. I think.
I'm telling you already. This is our, like, if we're building an army, this is our general. That's the coolest thing we're gonna have, is this guy riding a Nightmare.
Pete, I don't know. I've got some crazy luck. Well, yeah, let's move on to our next boy. Our next boy is a total creepo. He is a baby with an axe. Hopefully this will clarify for you guys. Can you guys let me know if this looks terrible, like if they can see it?
Not quite
the baby.
It's a Maragon, is what it's called. Or, oops.
There you go. These guys. I've seen this guy.
He's got a baby face, and it's really unsettling. I'll be real. It is wicked creepy.
Roger Fly says him and that skull corset guy are a good couple. They may be going. They may be going steady.
Beautiful. We're making this is actually a romance, is what we're slowly building. The next one I've got is this Babao, and he's pretty cool looking, actually. He's a spoopy boy. I mean, these are all pretty spoopy because they're demons and devils.
He's very lanky.
This is the kind of thing, this is like a nightmare. You know, you're having a nightmare, you wake up, you open the door, and there's this guy. And he's got blood all over his hands, which, you know, that never helps with the nightmare department. And, my last figure isn't actually a figure, because apparently this is weird. I have the bottom legs of my dude who rides the nightmare. So this is it's a 4-figure box, but it looks like the dude on the horse
Counts
and the
as
horse
two.
count as, yeah, they each count as one.
Well, it's very cool that
So
they give you
here's
that
him
option. The
without the
flexibility of that to be able to take him off the horse or have the horse still function if either one goes down in a battle. That's really cool.
So actually, really, it's a double ultra rare box, or a double rare box, which is crazy. So yeah, he's pretty cool looking. I dig it. He's got that sick flame lance thing. Like
I was saying, he's on the album covers. Yeah, I mean, these Metis, I think it's not just I think it's not just these minis. I think Descent into an Avernus is just about as metal as D&D will ever get.
Yeah. Well, one quick note about like a lot of these figures, because we're putting up the picture of them here for you guys, so you can see them a little better. And I just want to note that, you know, in a lot of these, the faces don't look super great on this picture, but that's because it's blown up like 8 times. I'll tell you, looking at this guy, the face looks great. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna try and stick them up here, but
yeah, that site is good for a general reference, but especially with these latest batches of minis, I think the paint quality and the sculpting has really improved as they've continued to make more over the years, and so it's really tough to convey through shots like that. And so, if any of you are impressed by that photo, I mean, please be. It's an awesome set, awesome minis. But yeah, it's when you hold them in person, it's so much more.
Yeah, and part of it is that they're not overprimed. I know that used to be a big issue with the WizKids and being super heavily primed. That being said, heck yeah, these are some sick figures. We got a nightmare, a dude with a flame lance, a creepy baby, and a demon.
So Roger Twy has got a comment here that's really inspired me, which is he's actually two gnomes stacked up in there. And I don't know if we want to go quite that silly or not, which I'm down either way. But one thing I do really like that is behind all of that armor and that ridiculous spear and the nightmare, this is a person who's, maybe leading whatever this legion is that's kind of the band spurring on, and that this person is in deeply over their head, and their incredibly powerful looking exterior appearance with this flame spear is making people think they're more important than they are.
Sure. Typically, so let's talk about these figures a little bit, right? Typically, the nightmare is a fiend, right, of the lower planes. The guy is a dude who's got some crazy magic. The baby is just a super creepy nightmarish. I think it's a fiend, right? The Maragon. And the Babao is a demon, which is just a fiend. What would we want to use these?
I don't know much about the Babao. Do you know its sort of abilities?
I don't actually know very much about the Babao, to be honest. I know it's from more than Kanan Silverfest. It might be from Volos, I don't remember. But I think it's more than Kanan.
I'll do a quick search for you here. Keep talking. I'll do this in the background because you two are the lovely faces on screen.
Well, I was just thinking, so what would we use these 4 figures for, right? So if we made a band with the first group, what are these 4 guys? If we want to stick with the band theme, I'll be real. This baby, this creepy Maragon, this is like a creepy bouncer.
I was just gonna say, you need bouncers, you need security.
Yeah, this is your creepy security.
I think the Babao could play very well. Maybe they're two, they're security partners. You got the heavy one, and then you got the lanky one here, that are checking people, making sure they're not bringing hand crossbows into the venue or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The Babao seems very assassin-y to me too.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting. I guess Farfel has some knowledge on the Babao. It is a fiend from Volo's Guide to Monsters, the result of some fight between Grazd, who is a demon lord, and a devil. So that's interesting, because I know Grazd, the lore of Grazd, he used to be a devil before he turned into a fiend after being in the Abyss so long. So I don't know how necessarily to use that. I don't know what his abilities are like, but the Nightmare guy is a bouncer since no one will mess with him. Yeah, maybe. I was thinking what else could we use this guy for? He'd be a great bouncer.
Are we going 100% all in on the band?
I guess we don't have to.
If we are, then we decide that now, and I think we could definitely, because if we're talking about what that guy would do, I think he works the lights and climbs around in the rigging upside down on the catwalk and stuff. Is what guy does.
He's just surprisingly a normal guy, but he just does all those crazy stuff. So he's got these powers,
and he's got these. He's very lanky. He just looks. Doesn't he look like he'd be crawling upside down on the ceiling?
Well, it does come from this conflicted background. People find solace in music, they find themselves, or they find identity, and so maybe he's listening to this devil band or something, because it's making him, he can identify with something. Maybe the other people are making fun of him or something along those lines, and here he is, so he's like, no, I'm a total whatever the band name, whatever head or something.
Helps him wrestle with his inner demons.
Hey,
that's the band name, Inner Demons. Perfect. Perfect.
More poetic, I guess, because it's a bunch of devils here. So.
Glabrazu. We got the Glabrazu. He's a demon.
But I meant Avernus is the first layer of the 9 hells. So the setting is diabolical, not necessarily demonic.
I'm very interested in just the plot of Avernus now, seeing all these both demons and devils, and if you're seeing some if there's fights in the Blood War that you're getting into, or if there's just devils that are the demons that hang out in, Avernus or just
Avernus is the welcome mat to the 9 hells. Any portals, unless you're super good with Asmodeus, any portals open up to Avernus, and that's exactly to funnel people and demons, or warlocks who want to make pacts, or whoever, good, bad, or indifferent to the devils here, it funnels them all into this first layer so that they can be treated with or dealt with in a in a particular fashion.
So, talking about this, I liked where you were going, Matty. I really liked using this guy as he just loves the music. He's just, because, if we're going to make an adventure, right, about a devil band, and maybe, I'm starting to, try to think of what the adventure is. I'm starting to piece it together now that we have half the figures we have to play with. And I'm thinking that, maybe this is just a dude. He's just one of the dudes who loves the music. And maybe this is someone that, the Babao is someone that the players could run into, right, during the adventure. That could be just an ambient maybe threat or a challenge to get around in some way.
Yeah, and NPCs or encounters like that are wonderful in an adventure. When you describe, you're walking down and you bump into someone and like, oh, apologies, sir. Turns around and you give that slow description of, ahead of you is an 8-foot tall, blue-skinned, lanky figure. His lips part to show, white glistening teeth, and you see that his hands are covered in red, and he lifts them up, and he goes to shake.
Yeah!
Oh, no problem. It happens all the time.
I love it.
You guys here to see the inner demons too?
Yeah.
You all here to? And what do we want?
I cut their tour back in year 3. They were incredible.
What do we want to use the Nazargon for?
The baby?
Or Narzargon.
Oh,
and his nightmare.
This rad dude.
He's a tour bus driver.
That'd be great. I love that he's just not anywhere near as sick as he looks.
No, he can't be cool. He can't be that cool because no one's that cool as he is.
I mean,
we'll
if
think
you
about
it. Tour bus drivers, they've been all over. They've traveled forever. They've had to deal with a bunch of pampered band people. Green M&Ms only or whatever. And this is someone who just drives these people around everywhere. He's seen everything. He's been to every plane. He's grizzled. Has a story from wherever. And then of course, too, people are out. Oh, people are in the band. We're gonna go jack the bus and steal their stuff and sell them on on Fiend Bay or something. And
it's just eBay.
It's just
eBay.
But of course, then he comes out of the bus like, "Oh, what are you gonna do, old man?" And then just suddenly this flaming lance from this grizzled old bus driver.
Yeah,
because he has a professional reputation.
I love it.
And so the band performs. They come back out. There's just 5 charred piles by the bus. He's like, "I took care of business for you."
Yeah, and Black Wolf was adding into that in the chat. Pyrotechnics? Yeah, right. He's just the roadie. He goes around with the band. He drives the bus. He sets up all their gear.
Another one Paisley was throwing out. What if the dude's an ex-band member who was kicked out for thinking too much of himself or a solo career?
We'll keep that in mind.
A solo career? Oh, and then he tries to upstage him by coming in on the nightmare.
Yeah, doesn't he look like he would try to he looks like he would think a lot of himself.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep both of
that.
these open because they're so excellent.
Yeah, please.
Pete, let's pop that next box.
Yeah, I'm down. We'll get into
seeing what we get there because I
too.
feel like as we finish opening these last 2 boxes, we're really going to get a much stronger idea of finishing up what everyone really is here. If we somehow pop Zariel or something, that will change things dramatically.
I got a thing that I don't know what it is, but it's righteous. It is an Armonite. I've gotten an Armonite.
An Armonite?
Yes.
I like the rival idea more now because of that. He's like, "Oh, you have an Armonite? Coming in. I got a."
So maybe we take the Armonite as the roadie.
And to describe this thing visually, it looks like a demon centaur carrying a lightning bolt. It is possibly the most metal thing I've ever seen.
I mean, I think that's what it is. Actually, the Armonite might be a Yugoloth. No, it's definitely not.
If he's carrying a lightning bolt, he probably plays around with electricity. Might be the sound guy.
Ooh,
you gotta have a scary
sound guy.
You gotta have a sound guy. Well, sound guys tend to be pretty scary. No offense to any sound guys.
Says the person who composes music on this channel every now and again too. Huh?
Well, what can I say? All right. We also have here a Maw Demon. I like this little guy here.
I love Maw Demons. Dude, he's the Mosh Demon.
Oh, I mean, he's literally doing the devil horn, like, throwing down in the pit, like, the hands are up in celebration of this music. That one almost feels like it writes itself.
I would like to submit, if you paint that brown, you have a Zorn, if you need one in a pen.
It's so good. Like, really? It's on the spot.
This
If
guy's
it's
very
not some
cool as
sort of
well.
mosh pit thing, I think that could totally set up as like their mega bass speaker. He's just on stage off to the side and just like, you know, he's just a source of music.
He's just part of it.
I have here a Legion Chain Devil.
Oh, I hadn't opened one of those either in all those boxes. At least not that I recall.
Where's
Man, y'all are getting some good stuff.
Can't quite get him into focus here. He won't
I'm
come
trying
in.
to open
there
it
he
up.
is.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's got a thing just over his face.
Yeah,
Oh, Jesus.
He's got like the Voldo mask, and then the
I think he's in
chains
the
are a
mosh
lot more
pit.
vicious looking. Oh, he's rad. He's rad.
No, he's in the mosh pit, 100%. I think
next
you're
to
right,
the
Matty.
Maw
I think we put the Maw Demon on the stage as a speaker, and we put this dude in the mosh pit.
If any of you have seen the Detective Pikachu
Holy
movie,
shit.
they have Loudred, which is a Pokemon that have sort of like speaker ears and stuff. There's an amazing scene where they go to kind of like a Pokemon fight club, and there's just a scene where Loudred are beatboxing, and they're like projecting the beatbox as like the techno music. It's amazing, and I loved it.
And
I
here we
love that
have
movie.
the Legion Spine Devil. Little blue
And
guy
that's
with
one of
wings.
two sculpts.
Which one did you get, Pete? Does he have a shield?
He has a spear, and he's coming in and flying. And he's gonna get you. And he seems like he's in the crowd.
Yeah,
Which is fun,
I think he can just be in the crowd.
Crowd or security from an aerial point of view as well.
That's
yeah,
true.
Work too.
Maybe, I actually kind of see him, right? Because he's a pretty normal guy. He's got a spear and everything. I think this guy is like the backstage. I just guard backstage, right? Because our Maragon, our creepy baby, I imagine like venue bouncer. This guy's like, all right, don't mess with the, he stands in the back. Keeps you from going
Okay,
backstage.
for the VIP pass holders to make sure they don't rush the stage or something.
Exactly.
Things have to block the hallway.
And
Yeah.
so long as we're on a roll, I think, Jeremy, you just opened the last box because we're really in a direction now, and I think
I'm loving
we
it.
can get
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, this is also an amazing adventure for D&D time, or really anything. I think you could run this in Avernus. You could run this anywhere.
Well, the thing I like about it
It's
is
just most at home in D&D time.
we're building not really even an adventure, but just a place and a thing, like an
concept.
event. So,
Yeah.
what you have the players do there's, a million things that you could do. This is just, we're establishing that somewhere in this demonic place, or maybe it's in the plane in your world, there is this whole devil band that devils go to see. And then there's tons of stuff you could do and setting it up and getting your players to have fun in that space.
All right, this guy is crazy. His name is Mickey, the Flesh Golem. And he looks like an amalgamation of devil parts that have been stitched together.
Mickey the Flesh Golem, he goes to all the concerts and he's a huge fan, but sometimes he just gets a little bit too aggressive in the mosh pit, and the other devils aren't really too happy about that.
I was thinking
he's a collector.
I was almost thinking of him, right, as like, because I looked at him, Pete, and I was feeling that too. But maybe he's like the band stalker kind of guy.
Yeah, like he goes to all the shows. He's a huge fan, but like he puts people off, and he's just a little bit too much sometimes.
Yeah,
he doesn't really mind his size when he's throwing around his arms in the paint. Knocks out a lot of smaller devils. He stepped on a lot of imps in his time by accident.
Yeah, and I imagine like he's like I think our villain in this, right? He's the one who shows up, or maybe it's the
like not even
solo
I don't
artist.
even know if like a whole villain, but like
He's
problem.
definitely a problem.
He's something that you overcome.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's maybe the first challenge, and then the biggest challenge is this guy, the Narzagon, when he comes back.
Yeah.
But let's look at the other two figures. I got a second Maragon, a second creepy baby. We'll open him up in a second.
There are two different sculpts, so if you want them security, it could be sort of like
one on either
man's
side,
one
absolutely.
and man's two.
What's the difference between the two of them? Do you know?
The axe.
The axe. So it looks like I got different axes. Oh yeah, wow, this one has like a little dragon thing on it. It's not going to come up pretty well, I don't think, but I'm not nearly as good as, yeah, you can see. But yeah, so I think these Maragon are absolutely, there are bouncers, right?
Yeah, when there's two of them, they're next to
Mara.
each other. There's something about there being two of the same of these guys too that makes them even more creepy.
Well, and talk about two of the same, I also got a Legion Barbed Devil, and this one's the one with the fire and the axe. So I'm wondering, maybe this is the, rhythm guitar? I don't know. What are we going to do with this guy? Maybe he's just a wannabe.
Oh yeah, if we're doing that, if this guy was our guitarist, and he plays two guitars, maybe he holds the two guitars and like maybe they play them together in some way. Like, I think there's something cool you could do with them, like being on each other's shoulders, and like one of them plays the strings and presses down on different guitars. Like, you could do some crazy stuff with that, like visually, and that's more
also. Oh, go ahead.
So that's more cinematic than it is like that's just a cool thing to describe. Like,
and I'm seeing a lot of great comments in there. What if the PCs are the demon band? Paisley was saying that would be a nice, cool addition here, and a whole bunch of other great comments in the chat. But I want to point out our last figure here because it's the figure that I personally love, and this is going to be a nightmare to see. I'm going to try and show it to you, and then I will bring it up on the screen. It is, because it's so tiny.
Oh.
Come on. Thing, please. I have no idea why everything's being wet.
And boss of the Blood War.
It is a demonic chicken. Where is the demonic chicken on here? Here we go. I was like, an abyssal chicken. And as we said previously, it looks awesome in real life. It actually looks pretty decent on the picture, too. But yeah, this tiny little demon chicken. And I think, and Pete, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think we just put this guy just walking around outside the venue as they get there, and the players get really excited and mess around with the chicken for 20 minutes instead of starting the adventure.
That's
what happens.
That's
100%.
the first challenge to overcome, and then it goes into the fan, and then the heavy metal rival.
As an alternative,
okay,
there is a classical story about Alice Cooper biting the head off a chicken on stage.
Oh my god!
And I like the idea that they do that, and then it just turns into this demon. It's a regular chicken, and they bite the head off, and it just turns into the demon chicken after and starts running around, and everyone in the crowd goes crazy.
Now, who does it though, right? So let's figure out our story now, because we've opened up all our figures.
Yeah, we're going somewhere.
Lil Glabby, I'm sorry, the Glabrazu is the most righteous drummer in the multiverse. Where's the Glabrazu? Now, Pete, do we want this to be a D&D time adventure, and do we want to put this at the Academy of Light's Battle of the Bands?
That's a good question. Well, I think
do we want to keep it a little more setting agnostic for anyone?
The answer is, if we were doing it as a D&D time adventure, we could easily put this at the Academy of Light's Battle of the Bands. But I think that we just go setting agnostic and know that like this could just be a D&D time adventure.
100%.
I don't think we need to even
and for
make it
those who aren't familiar, you have an entire lore page for D&D time. So as you mentioned, the Academy of Light, or even characters, perhaps like Lil Glabby, people can go to your website and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's dndtime.stream, or you probably need HTTPS in there, but whatever, you know how to go to websites. We have a great little website. You can learn all sorts of cool stuff about D&D time and our silly lore and all that whatnot. Not that you need to know any of that to play with us, but we're a very flexible crew. So Lil Glabby's our drummer. That's 100%. Also, I love how Roger tries one comment about like he'd make a great drummer. Completely decided the whole thing.
This is the essence of Dungeons and Dragons. One comment just suddenly poof, an entire world is full.
I mean, that's how all of our D&D time adventures come to be, right? We're just kind of going about our day, doing our normal stuff, and like, oh wow, hey look, a Coke bottle. I want some Coca-Cola. And then I'm thinking like, what would I do for that Coca-Cola? And that just becomes now it's a Coca-Cola heist, and that's a D&D time.
Like I can see so many different ways to run this. Like there's an idea here from Paisley 160, like the idea of this band touring around your pre-existing world, and each little episode is revisiting somewhere there. I could picture this being like their tour is like them taking over the material plane as like this band, if we wanted to go like the straight up evil direction and not have the players going for some other goal. Like I could picture this tour just being the Infernal Legion moving and rampaging through the material plane.
I mean, yeah, right? That would perfectly work. I love it. I'm just super excited with all this. We got our Glabrezu, our drummer. Where's our Arrhenius? We're just saying the lead singer for the Arrhenius? I think that makes sense. Right?
The lead singer was the Arrhenius, yeah. That's what we had decided on.
And we want so that's the Arrhenius.
Also bassist, I think we decided.
Well, I think what we could do, we could have one of the Legion Devils be the bassist.
One of the
Because we have two Legion Barb Devils. If one's a bassist and one's a guitarist. And that way we define them as, although they're members of the band, they're background characters. The players will kind of get it, I think.
Yeah, see, do we want to do that, though? Because I feel like it's cool if every member of the band has a vibe. And I think if you link them together and as one collective thing, it makes them so they have a vibe as a pair. So I think you could do that, but I don't think it's fun to have two members of the band just be kind of like, nothings.
I guess.
Because they're the whole focus.
I just don't want to have too much going on. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm saying you make them one collective thing. That is,
sure. They're the guitarists.
Yeah.
And then what's our next dude? We have our Narzagon and his nightmare. And actually, let's get to that one. And he's what? The disgruntled, cast out ex-lead singer who's coming back on his nightmare at the end of the show to try and steal it.
Probably speaks in a very thick, affected British accent, even though
oh my god,
even though he's not from that region.
What?
Oh, okay, because he wants to rebrand himself. So he's trying to.
Okay, sure. I'm digging it. And so this guy's like our final challenge at the end of the night, right?
Yeah.
What else do we have? We have the two Maragon, who are just bouncers.
They're bouncers. They're the first challenge, probably. You're trying to get into the venue.
Convince your way past the creepy babies.
Yep. We have a few members of the mosh pit. The mosh pit's gonna have the mosh pit's gonna have the chain devil in it. The mosh pit's gonna have that big lumbering flesh golem in it. The maw demon up in the paint. Like there's a lot of kind of these little guys. Like getting through the mosh pit seems like a whole, like it could be a whole encounter.
And where was that maw demon? Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm loving it.
And then
what else
for crew, we have the little. For crew, we have the little spine devil. We have Oleanthus, and we have our Armonite.
Oh yeah. And the Armonite is like super jaded. Let's get Oleanthus up there. He's the band manager, and then the Armonite. What's wrong, Armonite? The Armonite's just super. What were you saying, Matty? He's just like super jaded to everything. Like I've seen everything.
Oh, maybe
Armonite
can take on that role of the
tour bus
guy,
the navigator,
and slash roadie.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think it'd be great.
And then in that case, our spine devil, our Legion spine devil here is going to be our just like a throwaway guard.
Yeah, I think the Legion spine devil, or when the Legion spine devil was a VIP guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And I think
GIP or I forgot who put it ahead, but said that maybe they toss the T-shirts down from above into the crowd.
yeah, that would
So
do
it's
it
like a
too.
vendor.
He's just staff. He's just a staffer. I love it. And the Baba is just a guy. He's just in the crowd. He's here to have fun. He's your first, like, you think it's going to be at a counter, and it's not. Because he's very polite. I love this. This is a beautiful thing that we've created. So what's our rough plot, Pete? We're supposed to hash out, like, a very rough plot so that when we hand this over to Matty, he can create all this. What do people have to do?
What's
the adventure?
I think the adventure is I think the adventure is they're collecting autographs from the band members.
I love it.
And all of the things happening, like, for example, that other devil showing up and, like, kind of ruining things at the event, their previous bandmate.
Yep.
You know, they end up pulling up into the green room and they won't meet with you until this other guy's dealt with, so they have to handle that. And I think that could be the adventure. Yeah, and that would force them to interact with all of the different things that we have, established.
Oh. You know what I really love about that, actually? How it ties in with Mickey the Flesh Golem, the kind of creeper stalker guy. They might form a truce with this guy.
A tentative alliance, because he also wants to meet the band, yeah.
I love that. I love that a lot. But yeah, this is amazing. I'm very excited about that. If we weren't running the Legend Tier battle this week, I'd run this adventure. But maybe I'll run this adventure another time. That's not this week, but another time after that. Cough, cough. Next week.
Are you saying that perhaps workshop material that we come up with in the MattyMorgs community might show up in DnDTime content as the months roll on?
Matty, I'd go so far as to say I know that workshop material that from the MattyMorgs workshop channel will show up in DnDTime as the months go on. Wink.
So as some special event is happening, some holiday, perhaps for people who intend on partaking in the holiday, they might learn something.
Yeah,
I think that's fair to say. What do you think, Pete?
No,
No,
you guys keep bringing up these things that aren't going to happen. I don't know why you keep going out of your way to talk. We're not doing that.
But Pete, you know what we are doing?
Yes.
What?
Yes, I do.
You do? What are we doing then, Pete? What are we doing?
We're moving on to our final segment of the evening.
Did
the music happen? All right.
It's happening right now. I don't know how that sounds. We're just talking over the Ask Pete and Jeremy part.
Yeah, it's on to our final segment of the evening, Ask Pete and Jeremy. We've put together a cool little band here, and now we're gonna go through and answer some questions. So without
what are we calling the band? I want to call them Inner Demons.
The Inner Demons.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now we can go.
That works. In the Tuesday campaign world, we actually made a band it goes around, and they're called the Healing Words.
Yes, I've been catching up on your Tuesday week games, and I'm sorry, I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's very good.
If you have a question for myself, Matty, or Jeremy, you may, or all of us collectively, underneath the stream, there's a link to our Discord. Jeremy, if you don't mind throwing it up in chat with the power of the spectator. Hop onto our Discord, and there's a channel called Ask Pete and Jeremy. You can ask them there, and we'll be going through those now. But our first question is going to be coming right from MattyMorgs himself, who asks, something unexpected happens at your table as a DM. Noticeable audible gas, a Freudian slip, or something else similar. How would you handle the situation?
It's a very good question, Matty. I think you should handle it. How would you handle it? You should answer this one, Matty. What would you do?
Well, so things that I have done, because hey, this happens. You get a group of people together, and things happen. People mispronounce something, or just maybe there's something else on their mind. Or look, I mean, we produce noises and other such wonderful evidence of metabolism that we're clearly
humans are humans.
Yeah, that we are in fact humans, and we continue to prove that. So everyone rolls a con save sort. Well, sometimes depending on what everyone's had there. Some things that I've done, in those cases, I think the context partially matters. Like if you're kind of hanging out with friends or family, and you're comfortable with everyone can just like burp, fart, and cuss, and it's no big deal. Then I don't know, maybe you compliment, say, yeah, that was a good one, and everything continues. A couple times, if I'm in a position, especially as a dungeon master at a table, maybe you want to try and save face for the person who might be a little embarrassed in front of friends, but maybe you're not like that comfortable. And so you say something like, oh boy, those barking spiders are out tonight, or or you try and incorporate it into as a sound effect in the game, or you take the heat from the from the offhand comment, if it wasn't meant to be anything more than just an accidental slip of the tongue, or something. You say, oh boy, these chairs sure are creaky, so that way you as the DM, because you're the de facto leader at the table, you're stepping up, you're taking responsibility, and you're helping that other person not feel as embarrassed. Or honestly, you just say, you know what, I do it too, because it's happened. We're human beings, right? I mean, this happens to all human beings.
I completely agree. And I one of the things I most agree with what you just said, right, is as a dungeon master, you're the de facto leader, right? People look to you to kind of lead the group, even if you're playing with a group that you've played with for a very long time and this is your first time DMing. They're like, oh, how about you do it? The people who are playing with you will look to you as that group leader. And, it's up to you as a DM to pay attention, especially in moments like that. If anyone looks like they're uncomfortable, do what Matty was saying, try and take the heat off them a little bit, or, if other people are jabbing at them, sometimes you just got to say, hey guys, let's chill out. It's we all do this stuff. It's part of living, part of biological functions here.
If I may fess up as a DM who has audibly farted at the table before.
It's happened. I'm with you.
Even in a situation in which I wasn't that close with the people there, I was just kind of like, I was very uncomfortable. And what I said, I think, in that situation was, oh, sorry about that. Anyway, there's a beholder in front of you. Like,
yeah. Hey, you just keep it going.
Like, anyway, if you're really uncomfortable, that kind of thing, you can just push past it and everyone will forget about it in like 2 seconds.
If you think that was bad, just wait until you see the beholder around the corner. And then there's actually a beholder.
Well, there was a beholder in that given situation. But anyway, that's our first question. Thanks, Randy, for the question.
Yeah.
Our next one here comes from the Greener Gray. And the question is, how many peasants would it take to beat down a lich?
Now, I believe liches don't have resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing, do they?
They have immunity, which means there's no number of peasants that could ever beat a lich.
Yeah, they all die.
Lich would eventually destroy every peasant. Probably wouldn't take that long.
Do liches have immunity to, do they need to breathe?
I don't, they're undead, so no.
Okay.
No, I think a lich could beat down any number of peasants. You could not drown the lich. And they also, I think, have an area of effect ability that
that just kills lots of
damages and then heals them back. So even if all of the peasants have torches and are hitting him for like 1 fire damage, I think he gets all that health faster than they crit him. Because he has that health drain feature. Yeah. So I
think there's a number, but it's a lot.
I don't know. I think it's the lich always wins situation.
Black Wolf says, the horns have sounded, the enemy has arrived! Surprise, it's a beholder. That's the audible gasp right there. I love it. But yes, I'm with you, Pete. I don't think any number of peasants. Matty, you have any thoughts?
I mean, if this is just a rabble-rousing mob, then no. But of course, there's going to be that one peasant who probably survives or escapes and then goes on to become the adventurer to eventually bring down the lich. So, things can happen. Or you can't drown, but depending, can you drop a big boulder on a lich? So you may not kill it, but it'll be pinned underneath, 3 tons of rock and can't move its hands to make somatic components, or for verbal components if it can't draw air into whatever remains of its lungs. So there could be ways, drop a bunch of sand or a rock. So peasants can overcome a lich, perhaps, and that's the excellent forge that will make a hero down the line too.
You know what you just made me think about, Matty? I jumped to the lore about the halflings in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, which talks about the halfling who had right the lucky halflings, right? The little halfling town survives and is able to fend off the trolls because they just happen to have this magical sword that's been passed down through the generations that destroys trolls or whatever. It's just like, well, maybe these are just really lucky peasants. They just happen to have some magic weapons lying around.
I mean, perhaps. But for now, the next question I think we'll move on to, which was another one from MattyMorgs, and that is, D&D Research and Development contacts you and says, we like what you've been doing and want to implement something you've been playing with. What will you submit to be a new revised rule, race, feature, etc.?
Oh boy.
Oh,
this is a really tough one.
If I could just stab at one thing in 5e and add or subtract or change or, oh my god.
What would you do, Pete?
I really love 5th edition, and I think that the system is incredibly good. The thing that I would put would not be a change, because if I wanted to change anything in 5e, I'd really want to do a lot and not just target one thing. Like, I'd want to look at a lot of the classes and some of the issues with those. I'd really want to play around with the way stealth works, because I think stealth is problematic in 5e. What I'd really want to just do is I have an inspiration homebrew rule set that I use a lot, and I'd want to give them that and make them do more with inspiration as a mechanic.
Ah, okay.
Interesting.
Yes.
How about you, Matty?
Well, even though I'm the one who posted that, especially doing so much workshopping, we've touched on so much that could be alternatives, that could be it resorts down to the default talk to your DM, and so perhaps my suggestion from that angle would be some verbiage in the rule book. It does mention maybe broadly in an introduction paragraph, and that's fine, because we should be reading through it, though maybe some alternatives or just that encouragement that we'll talk about communication, or we'll maybe clarify what happens if your background, you take an elven sailor, for example. Sailor gives you perception, and
as an elf you already had perception,
and so what do you do at your table? Do you just ignore it, or do you shunt it over to another proficiency, or do you become what's the super
expertise?
Expertise. Do you take expertise? And so even just sort of like a centralized book of options that people might be able to more easily reference, or just say, well, so if this happens, here's 3 or 4 different ways, and you choose it for your world. So leave it open for the DM or even the PC to go to the DM and say, well, here's some suggestions. But ways to encourage people to continue thinking along these lines, or say, well, I guess I'm never playing an elven sailor because it's redundant and I don't know what to do with that extra point.
I love that, Matty, because it's I think what you're saying, right, is a part of the book that teaches new DMs how to house rule appropriately and correctly, because a lot of DMs do it wrong, and a lot of DMs don't do it at all. Is that what you're kind of getting at?
I think that's approaching it. It's this version, this 5th ed player's handbook, and the Dungeon Master's Guide has a lot of content too. It might seem kind of I don't know, it might seem a little convoluted up front, so maybe it would be like a how Xanathar's Guide to Everything is sort of it's an unofficial fourth source book, because it takes elements from the PHB and the DMG and such, and it would just sort of be a clearinghouse of options, and it would go through, and because Xanathar's actually does a good job of saying, a complication occurs, is what we were talking about with carousing earlier, Pete. a complication occurs, and so it's up to you to work it out with your DM, kind of a thing. Just these little encouraging blurbs as we're finding more and more new people coming into the hobby, and it doesn't have to talk down to them or just sort of presume that they're not imaginative people, because if they're interested in D&D, I think by default they're imaginative. They love stories, but to just overcome that, well, the rules don't tell me that I can double up my perception because I want to be an elven sailor. So I don't know. Just ways of expanding options for people that they already have. Though this is sort of that permission to open yourself up and to be that storyteller, or not be afraid to make the home rule. It would almost be like an official book of home rules or something, or options, because of course there's honor points and insanities. There's all sorts of fun options in the DMG too.
I completely agree. I mean, that's excellent. I think we could use one of those anyway. Just forget about our pipe dreams. It should be there.
A good tool. There's a lot of things in the Dungeon Master's Guide where it focuses on detail rather than just on like how to dungeon master and how to like kind of just deal with running a game and the more social aspects of playing. So
the practical advice.
Yeah, which would be a nice thing to see in there. So I'm with you as well.
So I was between three things with this. The first two that I came up with were, unique spells for different classes, but that's kind of a broad category. Like, I feel like the ranger should have more unique spells. The bard should have more of its own unique spells. The warlock should have more of its own unique spells. Spells shouldn't be so openly shared. But that's kind of broad. That's a lot. The second thing I came up with was I'd really like what I think to be the most fragile core class chassis to get fixed more, which is actually, in my opinion, the bard. I think the bard class needs the most love as a core class. I don't think it's the ranger. I don't think it's the monk. I think it's that bard. But that's also pretty broad. And then Ekrai in the chat absolutely nailed it. Rework grappling. Screw grappling. Grappling's the worst. Get rid of it. I'd kill grappling. All right, that's my answer.
That's what I was saying. Like, there's so many rules that
can't grapple. If you got 6 seconds, you can't effectively grapple that guy.
There's so many rules that could be touched up, like grappling and other things of that nature. I don't know. It would take more than it would be such a big change if you wanted to go through and fix all the minors.
And so you're saying 5.5 needs to happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would go in with like the bonus action fix, just like, all right, we're getting rid of bonus actions, no more hacky workarounds. We're gonna make the things that use bonus actions tie into actions or movement and like make sense. Anyway,
and Ember 7 was saying grappling is fine. I think at a lot of tables it absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's grappling starts to have issues when there are players that are kind of intentionally trying to kind of break grappling, because grappling is something that it's very easy to break in 5e.
Yeah, I mean, the big deal that comes up with grappling, right, is like grappling takes one of your attacks to grapple. And for a lot of classes, that's 2 or 3 or 4 attacks, and it takes an entire action to ungrapple. There are a lot of classes that want to be the tank for their party, and no tanking ability is better than the enemy cannot physically get to my allies. So this one pretty easy to do ability totally counteract, is just better than any other feature in the game at being that tank.
And tying it to skill checks makes it easy for, if you're a character that can abuse a skill check, for example, you have an expertise, you'll just, roll over people if you have expertise in athletics.
And monsters don't have proficiencies far and away, so at least in skills. And anyway, there are some problems with it depending on the groups. But I wanted to bring this up to a point because, Matty, I saw you mentioning it in chat, and Paisy brought up, whenever I hear the phrase, talk to your DM, it makes me wish that more DMs were also told, talk to your players. I find it frustrating when DMs attempt to push their ideas on players and often don't make it clear that they are changing rules. I think that's it's an awesome point. And I think that would go in with what Matty was saying, right? That like the book of helpful hints as how to DM, right?
Nice name.
It's a really good name, isn't it? But You know,
Keyword-
it's just how
keywords
to talk
handy.
to people.
Keywords handy hints.
Ugh. Now I'm hurt. You've hurt me. I don't know why, but it hurts me.
The next question comes from Crowley, aka Farfel13, which is, how are things? Fine.
I was super busy today. Jeez, I was running around like a bat out of hell up until 30 seconds before we went live. I was very busy.
Matty, how are things?
Things are going well, thank you. I'm getting ready to go to TwitchCon this coming week.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that's really awesome. I know you worked very hard and a long time to get there. We're really happy for you that you're heading out there. It's gonna be cool.
Are we gonna get the MattyMorgs vlog of like the TwitchCon vlog?
If I can figure out how to stream from my phone, maybe I'll try.
Awesome.
Well,
I'm
if we
super
do, I
into
would love
that.
to see it.
I know if you go to the Streamlabs app, Matty, it has some built-in stream from your phone to Twitch stuff.
Oh.
Might be worth looking into. Our next question is from Sword, who says, or Sword Co here, who says, do you think this band theme would make a good Halloween event? I don't know if it quite has the lasting. Maybe. I think
My answer. Oh, if you mean would it make like a DnDTime Halloween event? We probably wouldn't run this for our grand overarching Halloween event.
Yeah, I'm not sure it has 4 weeks worth of content.
Yeah,
yet.
I could see this being an adventure or like a component to one, absolutely. And for like a home game one-shot Halloween event kind of thing, if that's what you're referring to, absolutely.
Yeah,
I could
100%.
definitely see this. If you're not crazy about the devil aesthetic, I think this could also be reskinned as undead, and that would also be a very good Halloween event.
I mean, hell, and I say this doesn't have the staying power for 4 weeks. I don't think it has the staying power for 4 weeks of DnDTime adventures.
Yeah.
That's 16 one-shot adventures with totally different people in every adventure. I think in like a home game, I could run this thing for months. You know, I could run adventures kind of centered around this band and whatever the heck's going on with them indefinitely. There's just so much stuff you can do.
I think it could be a great evil campaign where if the players of the band.
The Forgotten One asks, can I have Boalzacraz's autograph? I don't know. I guess maybe we'll just have to wait and see if you ever meet Boalzacraz. Boalzacraz is for those wondering, a beholder in the lands of DnDTime, who's a huge fan of Bartholomew's Adventure.
Ah.
And also just Pete and Jeremy's DnDTime on the whole.
Yeah, he loves Pete and Jeremy's DnDTime. He watches the show every Friday.
And
More bomb.
And last but not least, we have a question from V Bunny, an interesting one. Have you checked out Pathfinder 2nd Edition? And if so, what are your thoughts, impressions on it? And if not, would you be willing / are you interested in looking at it? Have either of you tried it out yet or looked at it?
I've only heard a couple things, but I haven't looked into it at all, no.
I did a week-long workshop review of the playtest rules, and I do intend on going through the official rules now that it's been released. Up front, I don't mind that it exists. I don't get into edition wars. Paizo isn't offensive to me, though. A strength that people find with Pathfinder is it is infinitesimally customizable for your characters, because there are so many feats and optimizations, and there's pluses, plus ones and twos, and all this, very like minutia. And I know that a lot of people like getting that, that one extra whatever or whatnot. To me, I think a fifth edition really spoiled me, because it's very straightforward. It's easier to get along with. And so I don't, again, maybe I'm biased because I'm an experienced DM and a player alike. So I don't need all of the mechanics that support a +1 here or there when I can chalk it up to advantage or disadvantage, or, make some calls on the fly. So to me, Pathfinder's not attractive because it's just kind of an ongoing game of algebra instead of storytelling. That's a very broad statement. But I understand that a lot of people love that you can like ultra customize your character, because that's an argument against fifth edition. Oh, you're playing a human monk, got it, because every human monk is a human monk. But in Pathfinder, it's your weaving of feats and such.
I think, and Maddie, correct me if I'm wrong, the big difference between 5th edition and Pathfinder is complexity. And I don't mean that in what is necessarily a good way. Like you're saying, some people love that added complexity when it comes to character creation. And some people don't. And I know I'm with you. I don't like that. I like the game, and this is the philosophy 5th edition's been going with so far, the game to get out of the way and let you play your characters and discover the adventure and tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. ROLE instead of ROLL or a math manipulation game.
And everyone's got their own feelings on that. I think there's a skill to playing Pathfinder well.
Yes.
Whereas you don't need to be good at Dungeons and Dragons to play 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. You can just play it.
For my end, V Bunny, I haven't ever played a Pathfinder. And from what I've heard, and even from just listening to Jeremy and Maddie right now, who I think are a little more familiar than I am, it doesn't sound like a game that would be for me. The thing I like about Dungeons and Dragons are the flexibility and the more rules light version of it. I actually sometimes think that 5e has too many rules. So Pathfinder's probably not the game for me. Willing, yeah, I would check it out. I would play a game of it, certainly. But in the long term, I can't picture myself ever moving to that on a grander scale.
And I like what Paige is saying in chat, saying, I found that 5e is neither rules heavy nor rules light enough to interest me fully. I totally get that. For people, for you guys out there who don't know, if you think 5e is pretty straightforward, the rules, there are games that have way fewer tabletop RPGs that have way fewer rules than 5th edition D&D that are super light and flexible. Pete, I ran a whole campaign on a very, very rules light
yeah, that was
game system.
2d6 no rules system.
There were like little things, but
yeah, they were technically rules, but mostly just ways of conceptualizing.
If I were to write it out, it would be a page, maybe. Yeah, like Fate.
The Fate system is cool.
Feelings and Lasers or Honey Heist is another good one too.
Yep.
My personal favorite.
Dread.
That's the one I was about to say. My personal favorite one is
I'm sorry, I stole your thunder. I take that back. I just read it. Now we're back in time.
Dread. Really good game. Basically, it substitutes roles for pulling out of a Jenga tower, and basically the only rule is the DM, if you do something difficult, will ask you to pull a block, and if the tower goes over, your character dies. It's for horror games. It's amazing. Please check it out. You don't even need to check it out. I've told you how to play. Get a Jenga tower and play Dread.
It's so good. I want to play Dread so badly, Pete. Next time I'm back, you got to run Dread for me.
I've tried to last time. It just didn't pan out.
Well, it's going to pan out this next time, Pete. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But I really, coming back to that rules light versus rules heavy, I don't know. And I think you guys are with me on this, but I think 5e has just enough guidance to keep things organized. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love the accessibility of 5e. It's not just an uncut role-playing game. I have a lot of friends that I don't think I could get to play a game like we've played in the past, which is extremely rules light, or like Fate, but they have fun with D&D because it still has some context, like a video game, where it's like, okay, I do have things I know my character can do. I can throw a firebolt at someone, and I can understand that, which is something I like about it as a means to introduce role-playing games to new people.
I completely agree, and I'll say
final question of the night comes from Blood Deuce, which was Maddie, Bartholomew, or Roger? ? I'm sure this is getting in too late. He also says, I'm not entirely certain I'm understand the question, which means I will rephrase it as Maddie, Bartholomew, Roger, date one, hug one, punch one.
All right, come at me, everyone.
And Maddie, I'd give you a hug. I'd date Roger, and I'd punch Bartholomew.
Oh, man. What do I have to pick, Pete? What's going on?
I did a very childish version of Marry One, Fuck One, Kill One, of Date One, Punch One, Hug One?
I would.
Don't lie, Roger's a sugar daddy. You need to date that.
Yeah, I'm dating Roger. There's no two ways about it. Roger also, he seems to care about people.
Yeah.
Bartholomew also will feel no pain from the punch. That was my logic, was that Bartholomew would feel no pain. And Matty, if I ever saw you,
it is immune to. Oh,
don't you start creating these conspiracy theories.
Okay, Matty, I got a punch date. What's the third one?
Punch, date, hug.
Punch, date, hug. Oh, Jesus, this is really tough. I would punch Roger.
Oh.
I'd date Bartholomew and I'd hug Matty.
You date Bartholomew, huh?
I don't know. I think that, yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
fair
so.
enough.
He's a very powerful wizard. We're gonna just leave it at that.
That's true.
And Matty, what did you pick? I'm sorry, I missed it. Oh, wait, you're there.
I guess
Well,
I'd
yeah,
be
pick.
biased, but
Uh-huh.
if I'm in on the list here,
Would you date you?
you know, I don't know. I'm
This is a really tough.
I would give
philosophical
myself
question.
a hug.
Mhm.
I think that I would definitely go for Roger to be a date
Mhm.
because I think he'd be really good to converse with. I think he would listen to me for the stories I have to tell, or
Yeah, I think so
honestly,
too.
he could commiserate because look, I have my education up to my master's in business, and so here I'm hearing the story of what goes on in Bartholomew's shop, and I can listen and maybe even help him get I know it's kind of a two-man shop, but like get a promotion or
Yeah, no, Matty, I get you. You want him to work for free in your shop. I get you.
dude, I'll hire Roger. Man, maybe I should get a little Roger cutout and put him in the store.
Oh my god, if I can get Roger like
Oh,
fat
see,
head
and
sticking on the
Blood
wall.
Blood Deuce here in chat has clarified his question, which he meant with the question, Matty, comma, Bartholomew or Roger? Who is your preference? If you like, which character do you resonate more? I think was the idea.
Okay, then I am personally much more of a Bartholomew, which is probably why I would want to date a Roger.
That makes sense.
But I very much resonate with Bartholomew. Absolutely.
But this comes to my grandstand now about the Oxford comma and why we as a society need to decide whether or not it's real. Because here, I thought he was making a list, Matty, Bartholomew, Roger,
Yeah,
because he did not include the Oxford comma.
I'm a fan of the Oxford comma for that.
I am a
reason.
fan of it as
The
well.
Oxford comma is essential. What are
I'm glad that we're all on the same page on
there's
that.
a reason, look, there's a reason they call it the Oxford comma and not the comma, right? One of those is a highly educated, important thing. The other one's just a normal comma.
There's a reason they don't call it the
common comma.
That's true. That's true. Common chameleon.
And with that, I think that we have moved now to the end of our show tonight. Noted, I'll bring the Oxford comma in the future. No, you were correct, Blood Deuce. It was society that was wrong in this case. Because
society wronged you.
Because we haven't agreed on the Oxford comma, I couldn't rule out that wasn't a list.
True.
So you're okay, Blood Deuce. But yes, indeed. Thank you all so much for tuning in and joining us as we popped open some minis. We came up with a really cool story. I like our band, and I cannot wait to continue. Yeah, I mean, the thing that I'm really excited about tonight is that unlike many talks, tonight we get to just keep fleshing out this band. And that's going to be...
You mean even though our show is coming to an end now, people can get more of this? How could that happen?
That is absolutely the case. And the way that you do it is by staying right here. Because in a moment, we're going to be hosting, MattyMorgs' channel, where we're going to continue to, continuing to work on some of these concepts and really starting to get into some detail, building out NPCs, and you'll hear more about it there. So absolutely tune in to tonight's tonight's show on MattyMorgs. Jeremy has just linked it in the chat. Additionally, there's going to be there's going to be a mini opening extravaganza, I believe, on a stream, or a mini raffles.
Yes, you want to talk about that?
Mini raffle.
Matty, what is it? What's the monthly mini raffle?
Every month on the third Wednesday of the month,
That's this
I
Wednesday.
give out. What's that?
That's this Wednesday.
That is this Wednesday, September 18th, as of this broadcast. And if you're watching us from the future, hello. Hello from the past. Anyway, so yeah, the third Wednesday of every month, I give out boxes of minis, kind of like what you two were opening up. You get all 4 figures, and I include shipping to a domestic U.S. address for free. And it's a good way to build a collection. You could trade your minis with other people. There's a lot of people who are holding on to collections of minis. To Jeremy, and they have tons of figures that you could pop open, or that you could trade and build whatever you'd like, because it's a thank you back to everyone as I turn around the subscriptions to the channel, and those purchase the boxes out of inventory to give out to people. It's a fun way to support the community, kind of like what I do with the prize goblins and the art commissions. I love giving back to you all. You're amazing. You two as individuals, and then and beyond, as we have all come together now as equals in communities and D&D communities and channels and Minecraft servers and such. It's been a beautiful thing to watch grow over time.
Amen.
I agree.
So please do tune into that. It's going to be happening very soon. When do you expect to kick off? You're going to be getting going right after this? You're going to take a little break and then...
Yep, little break. Then my channel will go up and probably have like a lobby of sorts open for about 15 minutes, for people to come in and, talk and meet.
Yeah.
And then I'll go live. We'll do a little, table talk, a little bit of channel updates. And then I will open up the raffle entry. That will probably stay open, 20 minutes or so. People can enter the raffle. And then from there, I'll be pulling names randomly with a robot. So that way there's no bias or anything. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to follow even. It's open for people who come by. And
now, where do I bribe this robot, Matty?
You'd have to bribe Stream Elements for that, I believe.
Okay, I'll see who I can talk to over at Stream Elements. And on the subject of things to watch, beyond tonight, there's also a lot more going on just in D&D time. So first up, the other thing I'd like to announce is tune in on Friday. On Friday, we run Pete and Jeremy's D&D Time. It is a show where me and Jeremy run one-shots, 5th edition one-shots, and this week is going to be a crazy one. Every week you play in D&D Time, you get an experience point. The players in there, we run the games with all community members, so anyone can play in it. And each adventure you play, you get an experience point on the character that played it. We have a group of characters that are about to move up to level 10. Which is the highest tier of play. It begins the legend tier. There's a big boss battle. It's adventures 2 and 3, so it's going to be kind of an extended thing. It's going to be a grand spectacle. I recommend people tune in. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. I'm really excited for what me and Jeremy have planned for it.
It's going to be rad. I'm like people saying, I'm just excited. It's going to be amazing. And of course, on Sunday, we're going to be doing our D&D Time Tales. Check that out. We are 5 or 6 episodes into this 7 or 8 episode game, so we're getting pretty close.
The Black Hand.
There will be deaths this time. People will die. We will kill
people last
NPC targets, not just
That's
random
true.
bystanders.
You did kill random bystanders
for no
last time.
reason.
That's true.
And then, of course, at the beginning of October, and I'm sure you're going to hear more about this on our channel and Maddie's channel, we start our Carnival of Souls Halloween extravaganza. We have some really awesome concepts in store this year, throughout the month of October, and it's just going to be awesome. So just pay attention, hop in our Discord channel, and it's going to be rad. You do not want to miss this stuff. It's awesome.
And
tonight,
to reiterate one more, I just want to double down on what you were saying, Jeremy. If there was a time to get into Pete and Jeremy's D&D Time and play with us, join our games on Fridays during the month of October. It is a blast. The Halloween event is really fun, and it's kind of like our biggest event of the year, and the thing that me and Jeremy like. I don't know about you for D&D time. This is like the thing I really look forward to every year is Halloween.
I completely agree. It's going to be incredible.
So yes.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, I was going to move on to this next part. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
So thank you, everyone, for hanging out in the chat. It's awesome to see all these lovely faces following the old MattyMorgs over here coming out. And it's great to see you all here. We'll see you all very shortly on Matty's channel. Yeah, we love you all. We'll see you soon. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Pete.
And I'm Matt.
And this is
DnDTime Brews.
Good night, everyone.
See, it's hard, Matty. It's hard.